All right, welcome everybody. I'm Ed Cruz. This is episode 77, and I think I'm going to call this Teslafying, Tesla, something related to that. So, let me. You don't keep up to date with any of the things that are happening in the company world and so forth. Something interesting, like recently, if you follow Tesla, Tesla has a brand new gigafactory. And this gigafactory in Texas basically makes a Model Y. Model Y is, I think, the most popular brand in the Tesla cars. And long story short, the difference between the new factory and the old factory is the front frame, I believe, of the Model Y required 172 pieces to assemble, to weld, to assemble, and put together. Now, with the new factory and the way they've improved it, it only takes 2 pieces, and that's it. So imagine 172 pieces that you have to assemble, put together, gather, and create, as opposed to 2 pieces that are just basically there, and then you can meld it or whatever you have to do. The technicalities of it, I don't really know. The point I'm trying to make, this is nothing new. This is nothing new in the sense that you always try to look for ways to improve the current art or where you're at, or improve or enhance or speed up the learning process. What I'm trying to do is exactly the same thing. This is no different from what Bruce Lee tried to do also. He tried to say, there's too many useless moves in wingchun, things that don't have any purpose or sense. And, the reality is I kind of understand where he's coming from, because you got to think of the time frame that he studied in. Was it in the 60s? 60s that he was studying in, roughly in that time frame. I can't remember. I'm too lazy to do the math or do the checkup on that. But back then, learning then, it's not like you have the luxury of, like, when we study now, or when I talk with Sifu, asking questions is just natural. You just want to ask questions because you don't know why. And if you're a really good student, you ask non-stop questions over and over again, different ways of perspective, and the teacher comes up with an answer for you. But back then, training-wise, it's pretty much Sifu says, student does. And really, I can't imagine the interaction as far as why do we do this, why do we do that. That just isn't, one, probably a lot of the norms of that way, or two, also customary based off of the culture at the time, Maybe the culture was different, the times were different and stuff like that. So I get why he looked at it and says, maybe this stuff is useless. The thing is though, everything that I've shown you, everything that we do in Wing Chun has a rhyme and reason for it. Like, for example, why we open up the stance, why we do the stance and so forth. But if you don't have someone to tell you exactly, okay, this is a development, right? Next thing you know, you're fighting like this in actual application. So I get that. And what I'm trying to say is, looking now on the construction of how I want to teach Wing Chun and how I want to represent it, there really isn't that much to the art as far as, I've learned hundreds of drills. I can't even recall all of them. But I think if you look at it, there's a core set, maybe, I'm not really sure how many, let's say about 30 sets of drills within Wing Chun. And if you master these 30 sets of drills, can do it at least an A level or B level and above, then your Wing Chun will be very good, extremely good. But the problem is people are always trying to find a quicker route, trying to find the secret to Wing Chun, trying to find the secret of enhancing the speed of it. And I'm going to tell you that to do that is very simple, right? If you think about it, Wing Chun only has 6 forms. The 3 hand forms, the 2 weapon form, and the dummy form. 6 forms, that's it, okay? Everything we do at the end is funneled through to Chi Sao. So any drills, any things that you learn, you always go through Chi Sao, and then at the end of Chi Sao is actually the application as far as how to apply it in a real fight, okay? So if I'm shooting from my mind right now, roughly probably maybe 30 plus drills that you have to know. And once you know these drills and you can perfect it, there's one thing to know it, and there's one thing to understand it and perfect it. And that's the thing. Then you can simplify it and then just get it. For example, perfect example, if you do single sticky hands, right? The single sticky hand drill, palm, block, change, right? Block, punch, bong, reset. Single sticky hand drills. What's the normal reaction that people who spend a couple years in it, developing and learning that single sticky hands? Because you don't really understand or know what you're doing in the beginning. And what do people think single sticky hands is all about? blocking the palm, blocking the punch, one with jet, one with bomb. That's what the vast majority actually think. That's what you're trying to learn in single stick hands. And it goes way beyond that, but it's very common, and I'm not saying it's wrong or right, because your level of understanding is at that level at that particular time. But to break or to enhance your learning curve, it's a very simple process. The biggest hurdle that you've got to come and learn is realizing that the less drills you know, but the more drills you're good at, will be the key to getting really fast and really good in Wing Chun. It's hard to accept because we think in the terms of knowledge in this sense. Like if we start here, we look at knowledge in this sense, the more. But knowledge actually, if you look at, that's surface area knowledge, right? But actual knowledge is that if you look at the beginning, this is paid very little attention to, and then more I gather is like you can look at tons of information. Let's say I pick different topics, and I know, let's say, a little about this religion. I know a little bit about cooking. I know a little bit about driving racing cars and stuff like that. Photoshop. I may know all this, but the depth of that is so much more. And the reality is, it's great to know, bits and scraps of everything, but you can't dive. You only have one lifetime to dive into everything. So at the end of the day, the Tesla effect basically is, yes, you want to be efficient in your training. You want to do the best way possible. And the simplest step I'm telling you is, you don't need to know that many drills, right? You don't really need to do that many drills. You have to focus on the basics, understand what you're doing in the basics, and be really good at it. And then if you can do the core concepts of that, then your Wing Chun will really improve significantly. All right,